Hello, and welcome to Bible in Motion. Are you ready for another Bible challenge? In today's quiz, we'll present some statements, and you'll have to decide if they are true or false. So go ahead and subscribe to Bible in Motion, and don't forget to leave a blessed like right now to help us reach even more people. This is going to be a lot of fun. Good luck, and let's get started. Elijah was taken up to heaven in a whirlwind, without experiencing death. Is this true or false? That is true. That's right. Elijah did not experience death, but was taken up by God in a whirlwind. Great! Let's see the next statement. Jonah joyfully obeyed God's command to go to Nineveh without hesitation. Is this true or false? That is false. Actually, Jonah fled in the opposite direction and was swallowed by a great fish before obeying God. Here comes another true or false statement. Isaiah prophesied about the coming of the Messiah, who would be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Is this true or false? That is true. Exactly. Isaiah clearly announced the Messiah hundreds of years before Jesus was born. Excellent. Get ready for the next one. Daniel was killed in the lion's den for refusing to worship the king. Is this true or false? That is false. Daniel was thrown into the lion's den, but God shut the lions' mouths and saved him. Well done! Now let's continue. Jeremiah is known as the weeping prophet because he often lamented over Israel's sins. Is this true or false? That is true. That's right. Jeremiah wept deeply over the destruction of Jerusalem and the people's rebellion. Excellent. Let's go to the next one. Hosea refused to marry Gomer because she was unfaithful. Is this true or false? That is false. On the contrary, God commanded Hosea to marry her to symbolize his love for unfaithful Israel. Ready for the next true or false? Ezekiel saw a vision of a valley full of dry bones coming back to life. Is this true or false? That is true. Yes. This vision symbolized Israel's restoration by God's Spirit. Time for the next true or false question. Amos was a professional prophet from a family of prophets. Is this true or false? That is false. Actually, Amos was a shepherd and farmer, chosen by God unexpectedly to prophesy. Let's move on to the next statement. Micah foretold that the Messiah would be born in Bethlehem. Is this true or false? That is true. That's correct. Micah prophesied the exact birthplace of Jesus. Good job! Here comes the next challenge. Nahum prophesied comfort and blessings for the city of Nineveh. Is this true or false? That is false. Actually, Nahum announced judgment and destruction against Nineveh. Time for the next true or false question. Habakkuk questioned God about why evil seemed to prosper. Is this true or false? That is true. That's right. Habakkuk had a dialogue with God about justice and faith. Let's keep going with another statement. Zephaniah prophesied only about blessings and prosperity for Judah. Is this true or false? That is false. On the contrary, he warned about the coming day of the Lord and judgment. Great! Here comes the next one. Haggai encouraged the people to rebuild the temple of the Lord. Is this true or false? That is true. That's correct. Haggai urged the people to put God's house first. You did well. Now for the next statement. Zechariah saw visions, including a man riding a red horse among myrtle trees. Is this true or false? That is true. Yes. His visions were full of symbolism pointing to God's plans. Let's continue with the next statement. Malachi announced that no messenger would come before the Messiah. Is this true or false? That is false. Actually, Malachi prophesied about the coming of a messenger to prepare the way. Very good. Let's check the next one. Samuel anointed both Saul and David as kings of Israel. Is this true or false? That is true. Exactly. Samuel was the prophet chosen by God to anoint Israel's first two kings. That's it. Here comes the next one. Nathan was the prophet who confronted King David about his sin with Bathsheba. Is this true or false? That is true. That's correct. Nathan bravely exposed David's sin. Let's move on to the next one. Obadiah prophesied blessings for the nation of Edom. Is this true or false? That is false. On the contrary, Obadiah announced judgment against Edom. Excellent. Get ready for the next one. Moses is considered a prophet who led Israel out of Egypt. Is this true or false? That is true. Yes, Moses was not only a leader and lawgiver, but also a prophet of God. Let's keep going with another statement. Samuel was the last prophet before the kings, and there were no other prophets after him. Is this true or false? That is false. Not true. Samuel was important, but many prophets came after him. Excellent. Very good. So, how many points did you get? Let us know in the comments. I'd love to hear how you did. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time to join the Bible in Motion community and turn on notifications so you won't miss our next videos. Leave a like to help spread the word of God, and share this quiz with your friends and family to challenge them too. Thanks for watching, God bless you, and see you in the next video.